Good morning, and how are you? Thank you for joining us here on Prime Morning. We are live on Joy Prime Television. Time now for BTH. Now today I'm quite excited because 2 days ago, as I was surfing the internet, particularly on Twitter, I saw a lawyer posted. She said that, lawyer Ekwa, she said that, don't let people discourage you. Our court system works. Don't lose your property or have your rights infringed on because you think the system is broken. She went on to say that it could take a minute, but eventually you would get justice. Now, this her tweet triggered a lot of comments and people showing their not confidence in the system and thinking that the system does not work, and also asking questions. Well, would I get a particular remedy? They don't even know what remedies or what kind of rights they should be looking or asking for when there's something happening. And so this morning we want you to be actively involved. This is free consultation for you, something that you would have paid for, but it's good that you acquire the knowledge and it's good that you're joining us. So I'd appreciate your comments, your questions, and everything. We'll tell you all that you need to know, almost all that you need to know, so that you can be confident about our legal system here in Ghana. Join us on Twitter, #Prime Morning, or join us on Facebook at Joy Prime TV, or please, I'd welcome your comments, your questions, also on WhatsApp 0551575757. Now this morning, I'm joined by lawyer Godfred Enim. You'd find him at the Yalberima and Co. Afisam Chambers. Our mission here is simple this morning. So in 2018, the government of Ghana launched the first integrated criminal justice case tracking system. We'll understand exactly what the criminal justice case tracking system is. And for the purpose of our conversation, we'll shorten it by calling it the CTS. All right. And then we'll understand why the USA Justice Sector Support is interested in this. Then the one that will even interest you most is when we get into the Constitution. Where would be your first port of call if there's an issue? Did you even know that you're entitled to bail? How many days are you supposed to be in custody, police custody, and everything that would interest you? So really, welcome. Lawyer, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and good morning to your viewers as well.
Okay, I'm going to be learning a thing because I'll be stealing up. Exams is coming soon.
In fact, we are all learning. As you say, the learning curve doesn't stop.
Absolutely. So, lawyer, tell us exactly what is the USA Justice Sector support activity, or maybe I'll take the activity away and do the JSS.
Justice support, yes.
Okay.
So, what we are trying to do, that's the USAID and then Crime Check Foundation. We are trying to innovate and then solve some of the difficulties we have in our criminal justice system. In fact, you all know the problems we have, especially when it comes to our criminal system. The situation where accused persons or people who have been on remand will stay for years on remand without their cases being called. Situations where files are lost and then there's no way to track where the case has reached. And sometimes it's even difficult to know who is the prosecutor on a particular case. So when you look at the justice sector supports, we are trying to resolve some of these issues and difficulties in our criminal justice. First, we are concentrating more on the criminal justice first, because the rights of accused persons are very important to us. So we set up what you call the case tracking system. Okay. That's the CTS for short. Okay. So it's a system that is being run currently in 7 regions out of the 16 regions that we have in Ghana. So what is being done now is that when an accused person is brought to court, the accused person's data is put into the case tracking system. It's a software that is being managed by the court clerks and then the registrars of every court. So what you do is that at every point in time, you know at what point the case has reached and also who is handling a particular case. So where a court clerk goes for a particular file of an accused person, he will sign for it and then sign the time that the file leaves his or her table. So at every point in time, you can trace where a case has reached. And then secondly, relatives of accused persons or friends can go to the court's registrar and then check at what point the case has reached, whether it's at the bail stage, at the case management system case stage, or even at the trial stage. And then what is also done is that when the accused person first appears in court, the judge would bring the CTS form, and then together with the lawyers, if there's no lawyers involved, then the accused person, they'll determine the time frame that they want to try a particular case. So the past that a case can last for 3-5 years, we are trying to resolve that issue. So there's a particular timeline. There are timelines that are put on every criminal case. Okay. So at every stage of the trial, either at the CMC stage or the bail or even at the trial stage, the judge will determine at what time the case is supposed to be completed. So normally we are looking at no more than 3 months for a particular criminal case. Sometimes it can take less than 3 months for a case to be resolved.
Okay. So these are some of the benefits of the CTS.
Yes, this is the main benefits. The main benefits of the CTS.
Okay. Yes. So are there going to be other stakeholders, I would say, justice delivery or justice aiders that will be on this system that would help it function properly? Yes,
I mean, the CTS is an integration of the various institutions when it comes to our criminal system. Okay. We have the judicial service involved, the prison service are involved, YOKO are involved, and then the various triage that are involved. So what happens is that there's an integration. Instead of the previous system where if an accused is being sent on remand, you have to follow up some paper trail before the person is taken to prison custody. Now the CTS will make everything very simple. So it's technology trying to advance and innovate the way we do things in the courts. So there's an integration between the various institutions of states to know at every point in time the rights of accused persons are being protected. So that's the main motive or the intention behind the CTS, to protect the rights of accused persons when you are going through the criminal system delivery. Yeah.
Okay, so clearly an integration would aid faster justice delivery.
Yes, in fact, it's helping within the regions that are currently being operated in. The system is helping a lot because then we are reducing the use of paper, and then secondly, we are giving specific timelines. So previously, the case can last for 2 years. Now it's being done within 3 months.
Okay, so is it this system that is giving the timeline, or is still the judge's prerogative, to give the timeline that a case will last?
In fact, it's still the judge's prerogative, but then it's done in consultation with the lawyers involved and then the court registrar. Okay. What is being done is that there has been some, how do I even put it, guidelines as to how things are supposed to be treated in our courts. Previously, an accused person cannot be sent on remand for more than 3 months. Do you understand? So these systems have been put in place just to try and protect the rights of people who are going through the criminal justice system. Okay, so if there's clarity, it's not that the courts or justice delivery systems enjoy dumping people in remand. It's because of the workload. Because of the amount of work they have to do. Because of the workload, and then sometimes the people involved. Right. We are trying to, in a way, minimize human efforts in some of these systems. In a way that now you can send information or receive information through the CTS instead of somebody carrying dockets around, that the dockets can be lost in the system. So that is what we are trying to avoid. Okay. We are trying to avoid, minimize the human contacts when it comes to the files, and also promotes, in a way, the technology in the system so that we maximize efforts. But why do we have it in only 7 regions? For now, technology, we need internet access and other mediums. It's difficult getting to some places in our country. So for now, we are hoping that by the end of the year, we should be able to run throughout the whole country. But for now, it's in 7 regions. Okay. And we are getting good results. So, in fact, we are all happy with what is going on. The USAID has helped a lot. Okay. Especially with the criminal justice reform. So you mentioned that the court clerks, the registrars, they have access to. How does it look? Is it an app? Is it a portal? How do you have access to this system? So it's a portal. For now, it's only accessible to the registrars and the clerks. Okay. So we are hoping that within some time, you can run it to be generally accessible to anybody. That's even sitting at the comfort of your home, you can access the status of a particular criminal case. But for now, if you are the relative of an accused person, you just have to walk to the registrar's office and then request for an update on that criminal case that's going on. So everybody can have an access. But for now, you go to the registrar will give you an update on what's happening. I mean, for every new thing, there are some challenges. Have you faced some challenges? Yes. In fact, the main challenge has been, internet access in Ghana is always not reliable. That has been the challenge. Sometimes accessing it is a problem. But for now, we are trying gradually to resolve it. And the registrars are being trained in a way on how to easily access these issues. We know that with every innovation, sometimes there are some bottlenecks, especially from the people who are used to running the traditional way. So we are in a way educating the clerks to easily be able to input information into the system, because that is what helps the system. If the information is not in the system, it's not relevant.
Right.
So we are educating the clerks to quickly and easily input data into the system so that it will be accessible to anybody who goes to register.
Okay. All right, so do stay with us. Now that we know what is available to us and something that can aid some good justice delivery in Ghana, let us now turn our attention to what would really, really interest you about access to justice. Access to justice, it concerns you. Listen, you know, you never really appreciate how much you need access to justice until you're in there. So let's take a quick breather, and then when we come back, Lawyer Still Here would continue with the conversation. Do stay. Welcome back to the studio. So we've been discussing that new integration or that system that's going to be helping us. But moving forward, we want to understand, what are your rights? How much access do you have to justice? And if there are any challenges, we'll have some recommendations. We still have Lawyer Godfred Enim Inyako. You'd find him at the Yao Berima and Co. FSM Chambers. And I've also got a beautiful and gorgeous lawyer joining us, Lawyer Benedict Afiano. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining. I like your... Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so first question is that if a person is arrested, all right, what are the provisions in the law for a person who is arrested? First thing.
Okay,
let me stick to
law.
So
I will start by saying that whether you have been arrested or you are just a suspect, you have some basic human rights. If you have been taken to the police station, you have the right to bail. You have the right to bail. You also have the right to be told of the reason for your arrest. So those are basic fundamental human rights. In fact, I'll say that by discussing, there are two types of bail. You have the police inquiry bail and you have the court bail.
Okay.
So when you have been taken as a suspect to the police station, if the police cannot present you before the court within 48 hours, they have to give you what we call police inquiry bail. Okay. So those bails, it always comes with conditions. Normally, there has to be a surety who have to stand as a surety for you. The surety means that somebody who will come to the police station and say that I'll produce the accused person anytime that you need him. So what happens is that they have a bond form. They'll put what you call a police bond or a bail bond. So the bail bond, they'll put a particular figure there, maybe like 20,000, depending on the offense that you've been charged with. They'll put a bail bond there, the bail sum there, and then ask the surety to sign against the bail sum on the bail form. Then what will happen is that they don't take the surety to the person's place of abode. So they want to know where the surety is living. So in case they can't find the accused person, they will phone the surety to produce him. So that's what it's basically about. But the most important part is that there's no requirement to pay any money. Okay. So the surety is not required to pay any money to the police before bail is granted to the accused person. Okay. The challenge that the police has is that taking the surety to the place of abode is always a problem, because they always come with the excuse that they don't have vehicle or fuel to take you. Per the law...
The police or the surety?
The police always come and say they don't have vehicle or fuel. But then there's a requirement that they inspect the place of abode of the surety before the bail is granted. So normally what happens is that you, the surety, will foot the bail of transportation to your premises. That one is not against the law. Okay. But ordinarily, that shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have been the case, but that's what happened. So the only money that you would expend is transportation to go and look at your own house or place of abode. Okay. But apart from that, no money is paid towards bail being granted to an accused person.
Okay. Okay. Yes. And all of this happened within 48 hours?
Yes.
Should this happen within...
It's supposed to happen within 48 hours.
Okay. You mentioned that there are two types of...
Yes. So if the police is able to file charges against you within 48 hours, they will have to present you before the court. So when they present you before the court, then the court will determine whether to grant you bail or not. It's the judge's discretion. Okay. But now, looking at the law, every accused person, whatever the crime you have been charged with, is entitled to bail. Okay. So the court will have to satisfy itself that the accused person will be available to stand trial. So what normally we lawyers do is that you have to then let the court know that the accused person has a fixed place of abode. which is very important because if you don't have a place for abode, the court will not guarantee that you come and stand trial.
Okay.
And then secondly, that you, the accused person, has credible people who come and stand surety for you.
Okay.
So then the court will then grant the accused person bail. But that also comes with conditionalities. In that the court will give a self-recognizance bail, meaning that you are somebody of credible character. So we don't care. The court is satisfied that you come to court and then stand trial. Normally, it's being granted to normally politicians and professionals because they know that you have something of substance, so you will come and defend yourself. The court can also give conditionalities in the nature of justification, meaning that the bail is given on condition that the surety would give something of substance in case the accused person does not present himself before the court. So let's say when they give a bail bond of maybe 50,000 Ghana cedis and say it's justification, mean that you, the surety, will have to produce a landed document which is valued equal to or more than 50,000 cedis.
Okay.
Practically, the difficulty we have is that when you present landed documents, how many lands in Ghana are duly registered?
Exactly.
So going through the lands commission procedure always takes time. So sometimes the accused person can be granted bail, but then you'll still be in custody for about a week.
Because they are verifying all these.
Yes, that's the right way to proceed.
Okay, Laefia, before we even understand whether that is infringing on the accused person's right, I can mention that before the police will take you or an arrested person, you've got the right to know why you're being arrested. Should this happen before they put cuffs on your hands or before you get to the police station? And where is the bail granted? Who grants the bail? Is it the judge or it happens in the police station?
Your right to be informed of the offense that you've committed is known as the Miranda rules. And
what's the word again?
The Miranda rules.
Okay.
The police is supposed to inform you why you are being arrested, and it is at the point of arrest.
Okay.
Yes. You don't do it after you have taken the person to the police station. At the point you are arresting the person, you tell the person that we are arresting you for A, B, C, and D. Before you even put the handcuffs on the person.
Okay.
Exactly. And then you proceed to the police station. Once you proceed to the police station, I think there are some forms that you are supposed to fill and then probably bring some charges against you. From there, the police is supposed to take steps to ensure that within 48 hours, you are arraigned before court. If they're unable to do so, as my colleague said, they have to give you police inquiry bail.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you get to court, the court will also may grant you bail because bail is discretionary. And now the law has changed. Every offense is bailable, thanks to Martin Pebu.
Okay.
Every offense is bailable,
but is that being implemented? Are people able to access bail within 48 hours? I mean, this myth of accused persons being arrested during the weekend and the court system is not operating during the weekend. We're told that courts are working during weekends now. Is this true?
Yes, so I'll come in. So we have the now 48 hours rule, which is 48 hours. Initially, when they arrest you, when they want to punish the accused person, they arrest you on a Friday and then keep you in custody until the Monday before they present you to court.
Okay.
But then when we look at the last decision that the previous Chief Justice gave, that's Martin Pebu number 5. What the Chief Justice said, the former Chief Justice said was that 48 hours means 48 hours. Whether it happens within the weekend or not. So what the court stated was that the Chief Justice is supposed to make provision, special courts set up to try to look at the bail application of accused person who has been arrested over the weekend. For now, I don't know how practical that is going on, but it's supposed to be the case. Yes. That when you have been arrested on a Friday or a weekend, the court or the Chief Justice must make special provision for you, for you to be heard within the 48 hours, so that your rights are not infringed, because 48 hours means 48 hours, whether a weekend or a weekday. Okay,
so just to stretch it a little bit, if a person is not able to get that 48 hours bail, and that, yes, he or she goes through the mail and gets whatever remedies he gets, this person can come back to have a case with a...
Oh, yes,
you can institute an action.
Exactly.
Okay.
In fact, it's been done. And Shraj is also there to fight for the rights of people whose rights have been abused or infringed upon.
Okay.
If you have a problem of that nature, you can petition Shraj for Shraj to investigate the matter. Secondly, you can get a lawyer to file a suit against the IGP and the Ghana Police Service. In fact, we do that always. There are currently cases that are pending in court that are against the IGP for infringing upon the human rights of accused persons who have not been granted bail. So what we want to educate the public is that there are remedies in place in case your rights have been infringed upon. The PIPs are there. PIPs are there. The SHRAG is also there. Even the Judicial Service has a dispute resolution procedure within their ranks, where a court clerk or official has demanded money from you before signing or doing the necessary procedure to get you bail. There's a complaint unit within the Judicial Service where you can make that official complaint. So those dispute resolutions are there, and then you want to advise the public to try and let's see, because the Judicial Service, there has been a lot of reforms, and then you want people to know that the reforms are indeed happening and it's active. Okay,
that's good to know. Then let me come to you, Lawyer Fiano. So then, if it's accessible, then teach us the process for filing, a complaint if your rights are being abused. What's the process?
The first process is to make a formal complaint to the police service.
Okay.
That your rights are being abused, and you state the way in which your rights is being abused. Then, in case, should you make a complaint to that section, to that branch of the police service, and they don't respond, you have the right to move forward and report to PIPs.
Okay, what's the full?
PIPs is police.
Okay. I'd have to also
professional standard, police investigative and professional standards units.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. And so, there are different courts. You've mentioned SHRAG, you've mentioned the PIPs. I mean, PIPs is not a court, but there are different institutions and all of that. But where would I know that this court that maybe a police is taking me to is the ideal place to go to? Do I know that this complaint that I filed, okay, we're going to circuit court, we are going to district court, we're going to high court? How would the individual know that I'm going to the right place?
Okay, normally it's the lawyers. If you have a lawyer, fine, it's very simple. But an accused person without a lawyer, normally the circuit court has jurisdiction to try most offenses in Ghana, except the treasonable offenses that are reserved for the high court. So normally most criminal cases are sent to the circuit court and the district court. We all know that there are limits on their jurisdiction. So when the punishment for the offense is more than 2 years, it has to go beyond the district court to the circuit court. So the law has put in place criteria and jurisdiction of the various courts. So depending on the offense that you've been charged with, depends on the court that it should be sent to. So as I stated, where the punishment is more than 2 years, it must move from the district court to the circuit court. So that is the way it works. Secondly, I want us to also talk about the legal aid. That is also a very important medium available to accused persons.
Generally, what are legal aids, or what is legal aid?
Yes, so Legal Aid Commission is a government institution that has been set up by the states to protect the rights of the vulnerable and the poor in the society. When I say the poor, I don't mean the people who are extremely poor, but before you can access the service of the legal aid, you must be somebody who earns the minimum wage or less. So legal aid service is not available to everybody. You must earn the minimum wage or less. So when you want to access their services, you have district offices. You go to your various district offices. They have forms that you pick. So the forms, you state your basic personal information. You state your monthly income. And also you state the offense or the reasons why you need their services. So afterwards, there's a selection panel that's in place. So the selection panel will determine whether you indeed qualify to have access to their services. In fact, there's not every case that legal aid they handle. They handle criminal cases in general. They handle matrimonial cases. They handle child custody cases. They handle insurance cases and maintenance and other cases.
What kind of maintenance is it?
Child maintenance cases and spousal maintenance, so they handle it. You know that I left out land cases.
Why so?
Especially in Accra. Land cases take years to resolve. And secondly, land cases, there's the perception that if you are not a person of affluence nature, you can't fight a land litigation. So what happens is that when it comes to land cases and you want legal aid to handle the case, there's a special procedure you go through. You don't go through the normal procedure. You have to sit down with the board for the board to determine whether they will take your case or not. And also, secondly, where the case has gone to finality, you have to pay for the expenses that the state has incurred in fighting for your land on your behalf. But in all other cases, as I mentioned, child custody, maintenance, divorce, matrimony, and all other cases, it's for free. You just have to pick their forms. If you meet their criteria, they represent you for free.
It's entirely their discretion.
Yes, that's why I said there's a selection panel. When the selection panel refuses your application, there's even an appeal procedure within the selection panel. So provided you meet the minimum wage standard and also looking at the case. And also it's important to note that legal aid, they don't just rush to court. What they do is that where there's a complaint, they first invite the other side to try a mediation process first. So in fact, most of their cases are resolved at that stage, especially custody, child maintenance issues. Already they call the other side, either the other spouse or whether they are not married or they are married. They sit down and agree on a spousal amount to pay or custody or maintenance fee. And then they resolve at that stage. It is at that stage, if it's not resolved, then they proceed to court for the court to determine it. So that is what you have to know about the services of legal aid.
Okay. At this point, I would invite your questions. If I'm able to open the phone lines, it would be 0302-211-69094. Send in all of your questions, or I'll read out your questions on 0551-575757. Lawyer Fiano, I'll stay on the Legal Aid Commission again, because in the earlier submission, you mentioned that for the vulnerable, and yet there's a caveat on land issues. Okay. Why do I get this feeling that it is as if people of affluent nature are those who have, you know, land cases, but you can have a matrimonial issue, and there'll be a land issue embedded in there.
Yes.
You know.
Exactly.
Please deal with this issue.
And I believe the parties will even take it to legal aid once there are properties involved. Okay. As my colleague said, land issues quite expensive and they drag for a very long time. So that is going to incur a lot of debt on the, incur a lot of costs on the party involved. So legal aid normally deals with issues that you can resolve immediately. But land issues can drag for so nobody is willing to give up their land. Okay. No, especially when it's a very prime area. No, they'd rather go to court and fight it. Exactly.
Okay. All right. So please, right, I told you today is free consultation, because when you leave here, you have to find them at the chambers, and that's quite expensive. Let me see if I have a few of your messages. So Danjumayaro from Garu in the upper East region. Okay, so I think that you're taking us back to your lawyers here, so they've taken us back to an incident that happened in Wa yesterday. Have you seen the video that happened? The flogging of...
I saw it this morning.
You saw it this morning?
This morning.
Okay, so yeah, so you, I mean, Godfred, you have
I've seen the video.
It. And as viewers, they're just curious.
It's pathetic that we have to go through such an incident within this period. But then the people who went through that ordeal, they have mediums where they can assess or protect or ensure that their rights are protected. I'll first advise that there are charge officers within almost every district in Ghana. They should first go to the charge office and they make a formal complaint. But the charge is very effective in resolving these issues because they have an investigative power. So unlike the courts that will drag for some time, the charge would invite the other side, do their own personal investigation on how and why it happened before giving their opinion and ruling. Although we always say that the charge is a toothless bulldog, but they are also very effective.
Okay.
They are only hindrance.
In recent times, what are some of the cases some of the celebrated cases that Shraj is gotten so that we regain our confidence?
If you remember, about 4 years ago, this Ghana Prison Service, they had a system where when you have been newly enrolled, you are not supposed to get pregnant within the first, I think, 1 year or 2 years. There was an incident where one of their new how do I put, officers got pregnant within that period. So she had to be laid off. In fact, the person applied to the charge, and the charge was very efficient in resolving the dispute, because then they, after charge gave their ruling that it was against the person's constitutional rights, because you cannot be discriminated against because of your gender. Why is it that that same criteria is not applied to men? Because it's the men who get the women pregnant. But then this issue is being applied to the women rather instead of the men. So Shraj then went to the High Court, and the High Court struck out that provision, and they even gave compensations to the woman who had been laid off.
Oh, that's
so nice. Shraj is very effective, although they don't often tell us what they are doing, but then they have reports that they normally give out.
Okay.
That's a very, the one that I can remember now.
Okay.
But within their district offices, they are working to resolve most of the abuses that we see.
Lefiano, let's go back to the grounds on which an accused person who's being arrested, or a suspect who's being arrested, can refuse to go to the police station. On what grounds? Is it even possible at all? Then I'll come back to you. Think about that one, and I'll come back to you, Lawyer Enimiako. You tell us whether or not the Legal Aid Commission can approach a case that they've seen and want to take it up. I take it back to that case that happened up north, the 90-year-old woman that was lynched.
That was lynched.
Okay, for such a case, I mean, she's gone. There's nobody really, apart from the state looking for justice. Can the Legal Aid Commission like this just take up and say that this case, we want to take it up? Is this something that they do? But I come back to you, on what grounds can a person refuse that? No, don't put a cough on my hands. I don't agree to why I don't agree, I'm not following you to the police station.
Oh, one of the issues is when you're arresting an accused person, it should be reasonable. You don't have to use force. You know, once you tell the person, I'm arresting you for these reasons, the person voluntarily follows you. You don't have to use force. There's no need to use handcuffs. The person just goes with you. But if the person is resistant, is refusing to go with you, then you may use reasonable force.
Okay.
Reasonable.
But I'm just a suspect.
Exactly.
Would I have to ask for some level of evidence from the police before I agree to follow you? Because it's your word against mine at that moment.
Not at that
point.
That stage.
No.
When you've been taken to the station, normally the complainant would write a statement. The statement is what they base on to go and arrest the suspect. So when the suspect has been invited to the station and you are being told of the reasons for arrest, it's not at that stage you demand for evidence.
No.
Okay.
You follow the person to the station, and that's the stage that you have every right to demand for the evidence that's being used against at the station.
Okay.
Yes.
At the time that you're writing your statement, if you're not very educated, I mean, in Ghana, I've never seen anybody interpreting anything to anybody who would probably arrest my mother if she was alive. She never went to school. And you get police or people writing the statement on behalf of the accused person. How would the accused person know that exactly my words are what are being transcribed on the paper?
That is the challenge we have. But as I always advise clients, make sure there's a lawyer present. It is within your right to demand that I need a lawyer present.
Before you write the statement.
Exactly. Before you write the statement.
Okay.
It is within your rights. You have to demand for a lawyer to write the statement. But if at that moment you are not able, maybe you can't afford a lawyer, you can't get access to a lawyer, the police, they have the power to explain it to you, even in the local language. Okay. And there should be an independent individual present to ensure that the police is not using force, they are not coercing you, you are not writing it under duress. There should be an independent person. Because this statement, the statement by the accused person, could be in evidence. And once it is determined by the court that the accused person did it under duress, under compulsion, that statement can be withdrawn. Okay. Exactly.
Okay. At what point can I say that, well, I hear you, but can you go out, come to the police myself? I'll come to the police station myself?
It only happens when you are just a person of interest.
Exactly.
When you are a suspect, you don't have that privilege.
Okay.
You understand? But when you are just a person of interest.
Who do you describe as a person of interest?
Maybe a complaint has been made. The police cannot pinpoint exactly who is the suspect. Let's say this studio, money has gone missing. There are about 5 or 10 people here. Cannot pinpoint who and who stole the money. So everybody will be a person of interest. So they'll invite everybody here to come and give a statement to the police.
Maybe outside the studio, not
yes. So at that point, you become a person of interest.
Okay.
You are being invited to the police station. They will give you a time and place that you are supposed to come and then come and write your statement. So that's it. At that time, they won't pick you as if you're a suspect.
Okay.
But then you come in and write your statement. But then on the answer that my colleague gave, with my experience with the police service, they have various interpreters within the various stations. Especially the divisional, yes, they have various interpreters. With my experience, yes, especially the basic.
Did you know that?
At least the local languages, the popular ones. I can, and even.
Like you see, you're laughing. I've never seen one. I mean, I've had to go to police station to bail friends and, or go visit friends and all that.
When you go to the Accra regional, they have various interpreters.
What happens to the district level? What happens to the village level? Do I have to get to the regional first?
Yes.
I'm sorry that you're not the state and I'm questioning you on this.
I know. But then normally the police turn themselves into interpreters.
Okay.
They have various personalities within their rank. So where an accused person comes in and then the investigator doesn't understand the language, he will call a colleague who understands the language to take the statement. But then what is most important is that after taking the statement, they need to read over the statement to the accused person. For the accused person to approve that this is what I indeed told you.
Okay.
But that's very important. They don't often do it, but it's important. Because normally when you go to court and they produce the statement, the accused say, I never said this to the police. But then at the very end of the statement, the police has a normal thing they write that I've read over, interpreted to the accused, and he has agreed that this is what he said.
That's a template. That's a normal.
That's a template.
Okay.
But then you, the accused person, you sign beneath it, saying that you understood what was written. But then it comes to court, and then we now have to fight with the prosecution that you didn't really write what happened. Okay,
so what are the mechanisms available in our police structure, for seeking redress in violation of the rights of arrested persons, perpetrated by the police? That's one question. Yes. I've also got a question from Kobe. Who would want to take this one?
So I'll just give, you've already spoken about,
that, yeah.
So the PIPs is the one that we know.
Okay.
Normally, when there are lawyers involved, we also write directly to the IGP. Oh, normally we do that. We write directly to the IGP complaining about a specific incident that happened, abuse of a client.
Okay.
But then the PIPs are there. What happens is that either you put your complaints in a written form and then send it to PIPs. Or when
where is PIP's office? Where is it? Are there district? Do they have district levels, or is it just one office that we all have to march to?
They have regional offices specifically, but then within the district system, within every police station, they have a PIPs officer present. Who, yes. So although within the regional or the local system, they don't have officers, but they have officers representing PIPs whom you can make complaints to.
Okay.
Yeah, but within Accra or other regional offices, they have PIPs designated offices.
I see.
In Accra, they are located in Adabraka. It's closer to your studio.
Okay. Okay, so Kobe says that what legal action can I take against someone who has defrauded me?
Defrauded. Normally, if you want to use the criminal side, then they'll charge the person defrauding by false pretense. What happens is that before they charge somebody defrauding by false pretense, it means that the person, at the time the person took your money or made that representation that he can do something for you, he did not have the ability to do that. I hope I'm not being too technical.
You are. I feel like I'm about to write exams.
So what it means that when I say that I want to buy 10 logs of timber from you, you don't sell timber. You never sold timber. But then you take my money that I want to sell me 10 logs of timber.
Right.
What means is that at the time you took my money, you did not have the ability or capability to do what you claim you can do for me.
I misrepresented myself.
Yes, so then the police can then charge you with defrauding by false pretense.
Okay.
But then you're a media person. When you take my money to do advert for me, you can do it. Okay. But then if you don't do it, I cannot come and charge you with defrauding by false pretense. Okay. I can rather sue you in the civil court for recovery of the money. That's the difference.
Okay.
Do you get me?
Okay. And it's possible that you may or may not recover all of the money.
Yes, and as we say, sometimes there are judgments that are lying on our table that we can't enforce.
No.
So what happens is that I can take you to court, take years, get judgment in my favor with costs and interest. But then if you're a person of straw, you don't have money to pay back, then my judgment will be lying on my table, but then I can't take the money. Okay. So normally what I advise clients is that before you take somebody to court, You have to investigate whether the person has properties that you can recover.
And it will be worth it.
It will be
worth it.
That's it. So
and even bank account.
Even bank account.
Exactly.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can get judgments, but you can't enforce.
Okay. Somebody is asking for your number, but maybe we'll bring that at the wrap of the conversation.
Yes,
Okay. So, good morning, MFR. If I have the right to know why I'm being arrested, why then do we hear statements like, you have the right to remain silent? You have the right to remain silent, or anything you say or do will be used against you in the law courts. What's the justification for such statement? Then this is from Ridwan in Ahamanso, KJB. Ahamanso, KJB in the OT region. That's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Yes.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah, so let me come in. The police will have to tell you at the point of arrest that this is why I'm arresting you. But you, the accused person, you have the right to keep quiet. Do you understand me?
No.
The police, there's an obligation on the police. I'm arresting you. Obligation on me to tell you the reasons for the arrest.
So taking as granted, I shouldn't even be asking why I'm being arrested.
No, you shouldn't be asking why. No. That the police should
know and tell you
that I'm arresting you based on this. Because at the point of arrest, they are denying you of your personal liberty. Do you understand? So when you are denying somebody of his basic rights, you have to tell the person the reasons for denying the person the basic rights.
Okay.
Unless maybe you are being caught in the commission of the offense. You know, we have individual arrest or sitting arrest. If I catch somebody picking up a stolen item right now, I, the citizen, can arrest the person and present the person to the police.
Nice.
I don't need to call the police to come and arrest the person. At that point, the person is committing the offense. You know, therefore, they have the luxury to tell you, I'm arresting you because you are stealing somebody's property. The person run away.
Okay.
So the difference is that you, the accused person, has every right to keep quiet and request that your lawyer is present before you say a word.
Okay.
But then there's an obligation on the police to tell you the reason why they are arresting you.
Okay. So hi, I am Edem from Wipe Savannah region. I want clarification on this concern. If in case I am dating and partner whom you're not married to gets pregnant and you take responsibility for close to a year, and she tells you the real owner of the pregnancy is left the country and is coming back and willing to pay for every cost you incurred after the delivery, including naming the child, how possible is that? I think I get the import of the message. It was a bit all over the place, but I think it means that if you're with somebody who got pregnant and you thought the child was yours and you were taking care of the child for a year, and later the real owner shows up and said that I appreciate that you paid, you incurred all this cost, I'm ready to pay for it even with interest. Can you seek any form of redress? Which is
I just hope he's not in that situation. He's not in that situation.
Say that. She says you hope you're not in that situation. But if
and
he or she is,
for free legal advice. This is more matrimonial.
Okay.
It's family. It's family.
Okay.
It's family law.
So in fact, the person has a remedy. But then you have to seek your remedy through the family courts.
Exactly.
What happens is that you have, if I understand, you've taken responsibility for the child for some time, and now the real father is now coming to claim the child. What's the remedy I suppose you have at this point is that you can claim for damages for what they've taken you through. You can recover for whatever expense you've incurred. Do you understand? You can recover for whatever expense you've incurred in raising the child. And honestly, you can even sue for damages against the woman.
Okay.
You can sue for damages against the woman.
Okay.
Because she represented facts to you, which is not true. Some even go to the extent of even sue for emotional distress.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because at the point of accepting pregnancy, as a man, you go through a lot of emotions. Yes.
From experience.
You go through a lot of emotions. So people go to the extent of...
Are you speaking as a lawyer, or you're speaking... Are you representing all men, or you're speaking as a lawyer, or you're just a citizen?
I've acted for some clients who have gone through that. So I'm speaking from what a client has told me. So some people sue for emotional distress. Yes.
Are there remedies for emotional distress?
Yes, although you cannot quantify it, but the court will look at the period that you went through that.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
The period that you went to estimate some amount figure for that.
So, hi, I'm Robert. Can you please throw more light on a suspect? Okay, the question is not clear, but it looks like they want to know what you have to do during arrest again.
During arrest
so
again.
you mentioned it, but and you restate, you reiterate that again. What you should do or what you should not do during the time that you're being arrested.
As I said earlier, at the time of you being arrested, the police at that material time is not supposed to use force. You, the accused person, should also reasonably listen to the police and then, you know, follow accordingly. At the time of the arrest, the police tells you, I'm arresting you because of A, B, C, D.
Okay.
You don't have to use force. Just listen to the police and then follow the police if you have to.
Okay.
And it's within your rights. As my colleague said earlier, the police has to tell you what the offense is. And the right at that time for the accused person is either to remain silent or, as the police always say, whatever you say or do will be used against you.
Okay. Sometimes it's good for you when they say remain silent.
Exactly.
You'd have to wait for
because
your
at that time you could say a lot of things.
So emotional.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could say a lot of things.
It's always important that you keep quiet.
It's always important.
Whatever you do today, your take-home message is when you're being arrested, it's always important that you keep quiet.
Because, you know, the obligation is on the police to prove the charges.
Especially when it's a criminal case.
Exactly.
When it's a criminal
case. Yes. So, okay, so that's a good one, lawyer. So there's a question. I want you to be the one answering this one. It says that, good morning, I am Patamia from Bato. I want to know and understand if the accused person seeking the presence of a lawyer before writing his or her statement will later pay.
I'll start by saying that sometimes, in most of the time, the police always get infuriated when you say that. But that is your right. You have to insist on it. But the lawyers are not for free. We also offer our services in order to get money into our pockets.
Okay.
So, in fact, it's not for free when you ask for a lawyer to represent you at that time. It's not for free, but it's quite moderate, depending on the person that you call.
Okay.
You can also, as I stated earlier, request for legal aid to also assist you in that situation.
Okay.
When you insist on your rights to get a lawyer, and you can't get one from your own pocket,
right?
The police will have to assist you to get a lawyer.
Okay.
In that situation, you have to go through legal aid to get a lawyer to represent you.
Okay. You might as well access the services of the legal aid.
Of the legal aid. In fact, they are there. People know about them, especially in Accra.
Okay.
And they are working.
Okay, so good question here. Someone says, hi, good morning. I'm Harriet from Ho. I'd like to know if the police is allowed to handcuff a student in school uniform.
No, the thing is that they are when you are arresting a minor, let me not use a student.
A minor,
the law talks about a minor juvenile. There are ways of arrest.
Of the age?
The age is 18 years and below.
Okay.
So when you're a juvenile, the law states that you don't go through the process of arrest as if you are arresting an adult. When you are arresting a juvenile, the person's parent or guardian must be present. That's very important. Without the parent or guardian being present, whatever statement you take from the juvenile cannot be admissible in court.
What if you find them doing the act?
Yeah, so you can arrest the person, take the third person to the station, but before the person is allowed to write a statement, the person's guardian or parent must be around, which is very important. Okay. And you can't arrest a juvenile and handcuff the juvenile. That is a no-go area. Okay. You can't do that.
Even if the juvenile was involved in a heinous crime.
Unless the juvenile is resisting arrest. Unless the juvenile, sometimes you see pictures of the police putting handcuffs on juvenile, it's not right. Unless the juvenile is resisting arrest, then you, the police, will have to use reasonable force to arrest the person. But then if the person is not resisting arrest, you cannot handcuff the juvenile.
No matter the crime they're committing at the time.
No,
my mind is taking me to Kaswa.
Yes, in fact, we all saw videos of they in handcuffs. It is not good. It is wrong. Yes. Because the law seeks to protect the future of the juvenile. That's very important. So even ordinarily, the media is not supposed to capture videos of juveniles being arrested. It is wrong.
I see.
Do you understand? It's wrong. You're not supposed to blur the face or not capture the arrest at all. Okay.
There's a very important question here. It says that, should I demand a card from the police and be sure they're real police from the police department and not criminals? I ask because of kidnappers.
Yes.
Yes,
maternal instinct should kick in.
Yes, because even with the normal traffic offences, you have to know the police and the rank within which he's asking, he's stopping you or asking for some. So you sure have to know. At the point of it's within your right to know the police you are dealing with.
What shall I ask? What's the question I should ask the police?
If the person,
in the light of remaining silent.
If the person is a uniform police with the name tag and everything, ordinarily you don't ask for the card. If the person is not uniform, then you need to ask of.
Oh, that's why movies we see them show. If they are not in uniform, they show that this is my card.
Yeah, if they are not in uniform, they need to produce some identification form to show that they are really from the police service.
Okay, that's a very good question here. Is there any punishment for men who cheat on their wives? It's not from you. It's from Lovik AJ from Obuasi. Lovik, very good question. Okay, if you have follow-up questions, please send them.
Why not the other way around? Women who cheat on their husband.
So we'll try and rephrase another question for you. But Dr. Fiano,
adultery is not an offense. It's just a ground for divorce.
Right.
It's not an offense.
Right. Can you reiterate that?
Adultery is not an offense. It's not a crime. It's just a ground for divorce.
Okay. And well, that's
yes, but when we are going through the process of divorce, you can in fact demand for compensation from the person who committed adultery with your spouse.
The person who committed the
adultery with your spouse.
Yes.
It's very important. You can name the person in the divorce proceedings and then make the person the party to the divorce proceedings and the demand for damages from the person.
Okay, do we have such cases? Is it common in Ghana?
It happens, but sometimes the problem is the proof. The problem is the proof.
Exactly.
The problem is the proof.
Okay.
How do you prove that the person committed adultery with your wife or your spouse?
So it will be in your interest to have hard evidence?
Yes. Exactly. If you don't have evidence, the person can also sue you for defamation.
Okay. All right. So good morning. I know that this is going to shift into free legal advice, but just for a minute. Okay. All right. So Berma and Co-FSM Chambers. I mean, just for a minute. Thank you. Okay. So it says that, good morning, I'm Abraham. I fell into a pit near a swimming pool in a beach resort. Now, the hole was covered with a plastic pallet, and so I stepped on it, and after losing my balance, I went into the hole. One of the hotel manager insulted me instead of attending to me. Wow. Can I sue? Thank you.
Yes. So, okay, so I will just come in. So there's an area of law that you call occupier's liability. Anybody who comes to your premises, you, the owner, or occupier, owes a duty of care. I hope I'm not being too technical. You owe an obligation to anybody who comes to your premises for the person to be safe.
Right.
You don't leave open manholes or pools. So when somebody comes to your premises and then suffer a damage as a result of your own negligence, you have the right to sue to recover damages, unless the person is not allowed to come to your premises.
Exactly.
In law, there are certain people who have automatic advantage to come to premises, like utility service providers.
Okay.
Those who come to inspect our meters or water service, Ghana Water Service, those who come to inspect, they have automatic right of entry to your premises. So when they come to your premises and suffer damage, when they come to your premises and then your dogs will attack them, they can sue you for damages for that. Yes, they can sue you. And then, let's say in...
what if there's beware of dogs?
But then you can put beware of dogs, but...
Yes.
I want you to beware.
Depends
so
on...
I still owe you a duty of care.
Exactly.
That's what I'm telling you.
The beware of dogs could be there, but what if I enter and the dogs are not chained or something?
But I told you to beware.
So, as I said, there's a duty or obligation on owners of premises or occupiers to ensure that the safety of other people who come there is guaranteed.
Okay.
So when somebody comes to your premises, who is allowed to come to your premises and suffers damage or loss, the person can sue for the damage.
And that's under duty of care, right?
That's under duty of care. That's tort negligence.
Right. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for the program. What should I do to bail a brother who has been arrested for a car accident which killed someone? The person is still typing. Please add your name, and I'll send you an invoice. And he's in remand or on remand. So please add your name. This is quite a technical legal advice you're asking. So maybe you want to touch on it.
Yes. So normally motor traffic offences, when there's death, it is called a fatal case. In that instance, it goes beyond the realms of the Ghana Police Service to the Attorney General's office. So what happens is that the Ghana Police Service will present you before the court within 48 hours for the court to either remand you or grant you bail. Because then the Ghana Police Service will have to seek advice from the Attorney General's department because it's a fatal case. So whenever somebody dies out of motor traffic incident, the Attorney General must advise on the charges to be referred against the person. So normally it takes some time to get the advice from the Attorney General's department. Yeah. So the court will have to look at ordinarily the period that the advice will come in and either grant you bail or remand you within a short period of time.
Okay. This is a good question. I'll ask and also rephrase it again. It says that, hi, good morning. I'm Eugene Ablo from Takrady. And my question is, what if I've been arrested for an offense that I did not commit? And after the arrest, what do I do? Because it happened to me at Tafiat on my monkey surgery, and I went through an ordeal or a deal time or a great time with the case. Eugene, I understand your question, but where I think what he means is that if you have been wrongfully accused,
Yes.
and you have to go through the mail, the embarrassment, and all of that, what are some of the remedies available to you?
As I said, in fact, even last week in court, I raised that issue. Okay. Normally, I don't like discussing my case, but I have an accused person who had been charged with an offense. I think it was fraud issue. And then the judge gave a bail condition of 50 million Ghana cedis with 2 justifications. So I was asking myself, how many properties in Accra will cost 50 million Ghana cedis? Do you understand? So then I had to apply to the High Court for the High Court to review the bail conditions or grant new bail. So it took me, it was an ordeal just to go through that. So that's the question I posed to the judge. What if the accused person has already spent about a month in police custody because he cannot meet the bail condition? So the question I asked the judge, what if the accused person is finally acquitted or the complainant decides to withdraw the charge finally?
Yeah.
What is being done to compensate the accused person for going through this ordeal? That's the challenge we have with our criminal justice system. Ordinarily, the accused person is left to his fate. You have to go and cry in your room and then hope that it doesn't happen again. But then when there's a prosecution goes ahead and prosecutes you, true, and you have been convicted, and then later, because of an evidence that was withheld from you, or maybe something happened and you have been acquitted, you can apply to the Supreme Court for compensation for wrongful prosecution.
Okay, okay. But if you know, when is it necessary for the police to use a gun?
They're never supposed to use a gun.
Right.
Actually.
Okay. They are never supposed to. Yeah?
Maybe exactly during arrest, you're not supposed to use a gun.
Okay.
During arrest, you're not supposed to use the gun.
Okay.
The force must be reasonable. Exactly.
Okay.
Even if you have to use force, it must be reasonable.
Okay. Andy, I've seen that you have sent the same question about 10 times already. I have just 10 minutes, sir. And Andy in Takrady says, can I refuse arrest when the police refuse to tell me the reason for my arrest? We sort of tried to deal with this question, but we danced around it. But can I refuse the arrest? The lawyer will say, it's okay, you go to the police.
If you are my client, I will not advise you to refuse arrest, because otherwise you get some few slaps that you will not forget.
Okay, so I mean, just you know, for the purpose of you protecting your own rights and yourself, just comply, go to the police station, and then you know. In
the station, you can demand for.
I mean, you know, just as in its way, it's already difficult already. So it's unfortunate if you find yourself in that situation. But good morning, I'm Reverend Daniel Nanapia from Kaswa. In fact, you guys are doing a great job. God bless you. That's good. So hi, I am Abdallah from Seko. I want to know at which point, I'm sorry, do not call the WhatsApp number. At which point of crime can police arrest during, okay, so at what point during the day or night, at what time can the police arrest you? I think that's the question Abdallah is trying to ask. Is there a particular time? Do they also have working hours like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.?
No. It is when you are in the act of committing offense, you can't say the police cannot arrest you within this time, so they should go away and come back within the appropriate time.
Okay.
It cannot happen.
Anytime.
But then when they are inviting you to come to the station, it's within the normal working hours that they have to invite you.
Okay. Robert, so you're questioning about the car accident and your brother being bailed. So I'd advise that I mean, I can vouch for Yalberma and Co. If he's Chambers, you'd find lawyer if you're not there. You'd find lawyer Enim Yalko. I'd recommend them, and then I'm sure they would help you find a way around it. Okay, so let me take a few more. Is legal aid service the same as the paid lawyer? And also, is it easy? Obed from Baudi. Okay, Obed, I'm sure maybe you missed a part of that. So let's take the few minutes to reiterate the services from the Legal Aid Commission and all the other information they need to know.
Yes, so legal. I'll just answer back partly. So Legal Aid Commission, they have competent lawyers who are just like any private practitioner to handle cases.
Okay.
So they are very competent to handle the cases.
Okay, and you don't have to pay for it.
You don't have to pay for it.
Okay, you might as well try that, but you have to be sure that you're very vulnerable. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Okay, so Layanim, just reiterate again the case tracking system quickly, and then remind us of the regions that are available and possible time frame that it will go to the other region. Wait, let me see if it's in the Volta region. I'm very biased.
It is in the Volta region, and then you have the North region, and then one of the upper regions.
Okay.
So the case tracking system is basically a software, the technology we are trying to use to resolve our criminal justice problems you have. So unlike the previously that accused persons rots on remand, now we can easily assess the status of every particular case just by the click of a button.
Right.
So it's a way to reduce or minimize the time frame where we prosecute criminal cases, and also to protect the rights for accused persons throughout the judicial process.
But a person in remand, how can they access such as the legal aid?
So as I stated earlier, a relative.
Yes.
A relative can just walk to the court registrar and then demand for the status of a case.
Okay, yeah, good question. Somebody asked that if you have a relative in police custody within this 48 hours, can you go give them food, or is the duty of the police to provide them food in custody?
So it's the duty of the police to give them food. But then we know the police is underfinanced.
Yeah.
So normally, if you have a relative there, you have to produce food within the period of time.
Okay.
The accused person.
Okay. It shouldn't be difficult. The police shouldn't make it difficult for you.
No. Just that there's a procedure to go through.
Okay.
So they inspect the food that you are bringing, and then make sure that it's free from any contamination sort of.
And sometimes you're even made to taste it before giving it. Exactly.
Right. Okay. Finally, my cousin asked me, why would the police always make noise when they are going to arrest somebody? The ow, 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 ow. I'm trying to find in the Constitution to answer.
You have to ask the police.
I have to ask the police, not you.
When I was young, I was always wondering, why don't you arrest the person in silence?
I'm also thought
you have notified the person that you come to arrest the person.
Run away, right? Okay, quickly. Victor says that, please, is there punishment for verbal abuse as well as emotional abuse of a spouse? They actually treated that. If you missed the conversation, we're streaming live on Facebook. The link is available. You can go and then watch it, and then you can get informed. Abacha says that, is it crime to have an affair with someone's husband? They also treated that one, okay? So, Abacha, you can also, please read my question. What did you say? Hi, I'm Eric from Yankomase Ahinkra. I want to ask if police can come come for arrest. Can you tell them to go, and I'll present myself later? They also answered that question. Honestly, it will be in your interest to go with them, but if you're being arrested, well, the lawyers are here. Please read it.
Yes, so you've already answered that question.
Okay.
It's to be your personal interest to honor whatever invitation they give you. If they come to arrest you, don't resist arrest. Just go with them, and then you demand for all the rights that you're entitled to. Okay.
Abraham, I think that she may have some good case over here. I'd advise that she access either the Legal Aid Commission, or you might want to talk to lawyer Enim Nyakun, okay? So it's a follow-up question about the person that fell in the pit, and all of that.
Okay. That one, you have to sit down with
you have to sit down with a lawyer. I think that's because you're telling me you have evidence, emotions, pictures, and all of that. So quickly, hi, I'm Mexican. Takrade. Oh, Mexican, you're a serial caller here. Can the police bail be secured on weekends? There's the perception created by police that it's not offered on weekends. They also touched on that briefly. But for Martin Pegwood number 5, I don't know, but maybe reiterate.
So you can access police inquiry bail on weekends.
Okay.
And normally, what they tell you is that the crime officer or the commander is not available. But even without the crime website being available, the investigator can give you the necessary bail, provided you have reasonable or credible people to stand surety for you.
Okay.
And also you can access from the court too on the weekend.
Okay, just because of the comment that came from the British High Commissioner and the IDP's response, are matters of high treason and treason still bailable?
Oh yes,
Within
yes,
48
yes. In fact, every offense is bailable. Previously, you have to come under medical grounds when it comes to certain offenses like robbery, treason, and other high felony cases. But now, every offense is bailable.
The judge doesn't have a little bit of discretion?
The judge always has discretion when it comes to bail, even with normal stealing. The judge will have to satisfy himself or herself that you are not somebody who will run away and that you will be present to defend yourself. So that is discretion that's given to the judge. So the judge would exercise that discretion either by by assessing the conditions of bail. Sometimes instead of the bail justification, they can actually produce salary workers who will stand surety for you. So all those things are there for the judge to satisfy himself.
The few things that you look at,
that you produce yourself to defend yourself.
Okay, it's been a good one. Free consultation for you. I'm glad that you've learned a few things. But the justice tracking, the case tracking system will we get to a point where individuals can have access to it and all of that?
Yes.
We have time frame.
That is our objective.
Okay.
That everybody can sit down and then have access to the case tracking system. But it's taking time, but we hope to reach there.
We'll get there.
Okay. This question is exclusively for my director. It says that why is it that somebody steals a punching and they get 50 years, somebody steals plantain, they get that? I mean, is this still a matter of discretion, the court's discretion?
Maybe that punching is very, very, very valuable to the complainant. Yes.
Exactly.
It depends on what kind of a punching.
It makes sense.
Yes.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
If I had time, would have gone into the Aston North constituency case and all of that, but unfortunately.
But you have to make time.
We will. It's been a good one. We've been having a conversation with lawyer Confredini Miyako and also beautiful lawyer Benedicta Fianu. At some point in the conversation and this education, you may hear her, telling you all about this in Ga, in maybe other local languages. But thank you for joining us. This conversation brought to you by USAID Justice Sector Support, and we just want you to know that you can have access to justice. Do not think that the system is broken. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Amefa.
Have a good one. This more on the show this day.